Trey Gowdy, former congressman and chairman of the House Oversight Committee, now a partner at Nelson Mullins and a Fox News contributor. Good to have you with us tonight, sir. What's your reaction? What do you think he was getting at with that no one objected?
That Devin and Paul knew about it and had no problem with it. That's exactly what he's getting at. And the reason he's doing it this way is Devin and Paul are not allowed to discuss anything that is said in a Gang of Eight meeting. And McCabe knows that. So he can level the accusation, and Paul and Devin cannot refute him. What I think is fascinating is there were 3 investigations into a duly elected president. The Peter Strzok one from July of 2016, and then McCabe started a counterintelligence, and if he's telling the truth, started a criminal probe into the President of the United States. I listened to Devin and Paul quiz the DOJ and the FBI for hours on multiple occasions about the one counterintelligence investigation we all knew about it. I find it stunning that they would know about a second one and not say a single solitary word. And I will continue to not believe they knew about it unless one or the other contradicts it.
So you're saying that Paul Ryan, Devin Nunes, that the whole Gang of 8 was not aware that there were 2 investigations. So the first investigation that everybody understood was whether or not there was Russian interference in the election, correct?
Well, if you look at the FBI document, which was drafted by and approved by Peter Strzok, it was a counterintelligence investigation into the Trump campaign. Now, the FBI doesn't like it when I say that, but unfortunately, I've seen the documents. I know exactly what Strzok wrote. They want you to believe that it was into what Russia was doing, and that's fine. That's appropriate. Unfortunately, Strzok used the phrase Trump campaign. So that was the one from July of 2016, and now McCabe says there was one in May of 2017 in addition to the criminal investigation into obstruction of justice.
Understood. I mean, and everyone knows that the FISA warrants were happening during the time of the original investigation, which goes right to the heart of what you're saying about the Trump campaign in and of itself. But what triggered the second part of this for Andrew McCabe is quite clear. He was very upset that James Comey was fired. And when he was pressed on this by Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show this morning, he said, she said, what evidence, what reasoning did you have? And he says, because he clearly wanted us to stop investigating. He talked about Michael Flynn. He asked for, perhaps you could see your way past this investigation. And he felt that there was a direct line, perhaps, from that to him being an agent of Russia, essentially.
If thinking that Jim Comey is not a good FBI director is tantamount to being an agent of Russia, then just list all the people that are agents of Russia. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Rod Rosenstein, who wrote the memo getting rid of Comey, Michael Horowitz, who's the inspector general. I mean, look, I know McCabe liked Jim Comey. I know that. But lots of people thought that Jim Comey had lost the ability to lead that department. And the fact that President Trump got rid of him in May of 2017 is not sufficient basis to launch a criminal obstruction of justice probe. Look at what happened, Martha. He gets rid of Comey, replaces him with a Comey acolyte who not only continues the probe, but expands it. So if his goal was to obstruct a Russia investigation, gosh, he did a terrible job of it.
Well, your friend Adam Schiff clearly believes that this evidence that Andrew McCabe speaks of definitely existed. And just to remind everyone, Andrew McCabe said that he believed that the president was a national security concern and that it was such a potent moment for everyone because they were so terrified about this. Here's Adam Schiff talking about what he sees as the continued evidence at this point on Sunday. Let's watch.
You can see evidence in plain sight on the issue of collusion, pretty compelling evidence. Now, there's a difference between seeing evidence of collusion and being able to prove a criminal conspiracy beyond a reasonable doubt.
Your thoughts?
Well, collusion is a synonym for conspiracy. So I hope the questioner followed up and said, okay, Chairman Schiff, you have just said you have evidence of a criminal conspiracy between the President of the United States and the Russian state. What is that evidence? What is the crime? Was Trump involved in the hacking of the DNC server? Was he involved in the hacking of John Podesta's email? Are you alleging that he participated in deciding when to disseminate the proceeds of those two hacks? I have heard Adam on a number of occasions say that he, as the third eye raven, has evidence and seen things nobody else has ever seen before. But I've never heard him ask, what is it? What is the evidence of crime that you have, Chairman Schiff? I've never heard him follow. I've never heard it followed up on.
He also weighed in on the Jussie Smollett story with this tweet on January 20th. He also made some assumptions about the outcome of this case. Perhaps he said, "I met him at the Pride Parade in Los Angeles. I've seen his passion and moral clarity of his activism firsthand. This week he was the victim of a horrific attack. We pray for your speedy recovery, and we reject this act of hatred and bigotry," says Adam Schiff with regard to that. Quick thought.
Horrific attack is the words I went to. It is another in a long list of instances where Adam Schiff would rather get the attention than get the facts. And I've said before, he was a good lawyer. Unfortunately, he's a much better politician. Lawyers get the facts and then they make conclusions. Politicians just want the attention. And he got it. And I wonder if anybody's going to ask him, how did you get this so wrong?
Trey Gowdy, thank you, sir. Good to see you as always.
Stunning admission there from Andrew McCabe, the former acting FBI director, saying he had informed the bipartisan Gang of Eight about a counterintelligence investigation into President Trump, and none of them objected. Former Congressman Trey Gowdy, not one of the Gang of Eight, is challenging that claim.
And Paul quizzed the DOJ and the FBI for hours on multiple occasions about the one counterintelligence investigation we all knew about it. I find it stunning that they would know about a second one and not say a single solitary word.
Let's bring in Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor. Ari, can you make some sense of this for us? I mean, McCabe is all over the place talking about this, and I quote him in that NBC interview saying, "I told Congress what we had done." He was then asked, did anyone object? He said, no one objected. Trey Gowdy's clearly questioning that claim.
Yeah, this is just stunning to me, and what I cannot understand is how reporters who pride themselves on being able to ask hard questions aren't being precise. The question should be, did you tell the Gang of Eight that you considered invoking the 25th Amendment? Not that there was a counterintelligence investigation. Everybody knew beginning in the summer of 2016 there was a counterintelligence investigation. So when people ask him that question, they're missing the bigger picture, which is the absolute inappropriate behavior of Andy McCabe, James Comey, and anybody else who participated, Rob Rosenstein, in a discussion about removing a duly elected president using the 25th Amendment. This is the bad behavior that was going on at the top of the FBI. This is what concerns me the most.
What do you think's going on here? I mean, with the former acting director of the FBI, he's on a media blitz. He's really put himself out there. He's all over.
You know, Sandra, in politics and every campaign I've been on, so going back to 1982, you're told that your opponent did X, did Y, did Z, and he's a terrible guy, he did drugs, he's a criminal. And you have to vet this stuff because hardly ever is it true. But people make things up about people in politics. You would think the FBI would be immune from that at the top level. I think the FBI bought in on every worst scenario, worst case argument about Donald Trump, and they believe it the way a partisan believes and not the way a neutral, fact-finding law enforcement officer should believe it. So I think they were driven by animus. And it shows up in their tweets, I mean, in their emails that were now disclosed. It shows up in their approach. For Andy McCabe to this day to say that he can't rule out that the President of the United States is a Russian asset, doesn't that tell you a lot about Andy McCabe's bad judgment?
And you are referencing him saying just that, saying that's why we started our investigation. The White House via Kellyanne Conway responded to that, and she said that McCabe's comment is hardly worth dignifying with a response. Clearly, lawmakers are now speaking out about what they are hearing here. We had Andy Biggs of the House Judiciary Committee on the program earlier this morning, Ari, backing up Trey Gowdy's refuting the claim that Andrew McCabe has put out there very strongly. Watch.
When Trey said that he was there and heard lots of questions and investigation going on, in 2 years that I've been involved doing this, I can tell you there was not once that any of us said, well, oh, there was this other investigation. Let's ask questions and let's find out about that. And it's simply because It didn't, as far as we knew, it didn't happen. And so I don't believe a thing Andrew McCabe is saying that Congress said, oh yeah, go ahead.
And that's where he stands today, and he's calling for a second special counsel to investigate the matter.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not surprised if Congress is looking to do that, because this is just so hard to understand, particularly from a man who was fired for lying. Look, I've had my own run-ins with Andy McCabe, and this is part of the problem. The Andy McCabe FBI was protect James Comey FBI at all costs. They didn't wear blinders the way justice is supposed to be done. They were blindly loyal to Jim Comey. Under Comey, I was invited to participate to lead a FBI counterterrorism communications training session. When Comey got fired, I said some mildly critical things about Comey, and Andy McCabe, I was literally in an FBI car on my way to the event. McCabe told the car to drop me off because I criticized Comey mildly. He was so defensive about James Comey, he actually canceled the training portion of a counterterrorism event, told the car, let him out. That's Andy McCabe for you. And this is a whole reflection of the top leadership of the FBI, protect James Comey at all costs. That's the problem with blind loyalty.
That's a stunning story, Ari. All right, well...
It didn't feel good to get dropped off on the sidewalk either.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, we appreciate you coming on. We hope to see you again soon. Ari Fleischer, thank you.